Here we go. Oh, didn't know we were recording there. Kevin put me up to it. He said, let's start off with a dance party, and I was solely against it. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us here today. Excited to have you aboard. One, because we look amazing. And this is the new look. I like you so much that I started to do, like Tremble or Shaved, but with you I started to grow. I want to be more like little KB. Dude, I know you take off to Olean in hours, so thank you for squeezing this in. I know that you're literally leaving here and then driving hours to the airport and then flying across the country. So it does mean a lot to put this in here today and to help fulfill our newer management and just give them some fundamentals of the fall. So Kevin, tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me on. So I'm from Colorado Springs. I run the district office in North Colorado Springs, and I started back in 2010. So I started actually in a branch office, and so I'm a branch of a branch. I went branch in summer. Yep. So I'm a twig. And I started with a guy named Kevin Hinley, and started in a branch office in Colorado Springs my first summertime. Got involved in management after about a month or so. And didn't know how long I was going to do the job. I was back and forth between majors, between engineering and business, and decided to stick with business and decided to stick with Cutco. So I ran a branch office in 2011, and we had a successful branch office, recruited 80 people that sold 80 grand. And I had never, it's funny because I had ran one interview prior to running a branch office, and I had ran zero training. So I was off at school, had very little training. The next summer in 2012, became a district manager in Colorado Springs as well. We went from going from 80 grand in 4 months over a summer to 404 grand.
Wow.
In 4 months the next summertime in the same territory, and did 550K first 8 months, and then I've been a DM now for this is the 7th year. So came out of the gates, came out a little swinging, and had some good success, and then continued to keep building after that. And ever since the last couple years now, 2018 is when I got promoted to being an assistant division manager in the Rocky Mountain with Drew Frank also. So been DM now for 7 years, branched for one of those, and been in the company for 9.
That's awesome. So first summertime, same territory branch. So you started one summer, taught the next, never ran a training, but ran an interview. That's like playing baseball. And it's like, you can catch, right? You're good. What about this hitting aspect? Nah, just go up there and take some pitches. You'll be fine. The fact that was that you had 80 recruits massed with 80,000 in sales. And then the next summertime, you go to $404,000.
Correct. Yep. We launched 269 my first summer as a DM.
269?
269.
That's great, man. Career sales on the books, 6.85 mil.
Yes.
Court of Honor, congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, Court of Honor, getting close to that 7 million. Should knock it out here soon.
And the highlight, by the way, newest. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. All right, the newest, number 9 in Vector West, just solidifying President's Banquet at $104,000. So you tabbed literally this week, and congratulations on that. From the calculations, AK, based on what you told me 10 minutes ago, this is your 6th time out of 8 years as being a DM.
Yes.
I'll take those stats. So for you, fundamentals of the fall. Funny, before we jump into the content aspect of it, I was like, hey, Kev, how was your weekend? He's like, oh, good, man. I was like, what'd you do? He's like, I ran a half marathon, did it under 2 hours. And immediately I had a regret in my body because it's like, I hope he doesn't ask me what I did this weekend, because it was not a half of a marathon. It was like I bet on a sports game and won, and I ate chicken wings on Sunday. So is that good? But dude, I love what's going on with you, your business, your energy, and it's exciting for today. And I'm happy and just honored that you're on the call. So
yes, thank you. I really appreciate being on. So
your transformation, by the way, has been awesome. 80K to 400K. I mean, that's 500% increase, right? I want to start there with, dude, what do you wish you would have known a little bit more of in your first summer, your first year as a DM, to go from that, things that you know now? What would you wish you had known a little bit more of?
Yeah, I think specifically for me, taking that leap from doing, 80K to doing over 400K and having that success, really really switch, it was kind of a flip of a switch. And for me, one of the things that really helped me was the commitment, I would say, was the first thing. Just recommitting myself and really diving full force into everything that Vector has to offer with no apprehension. That was the biggest difference for me, between my branch and between my district, was just being all in on anything that Drew was teaching me, anything that Drew was advising me to do, anything that Drew was kind of guiding me and helping me to have that first summertime. I just took it and I ran with it. And I just followed the program to a T, but it was just on a next level commitment. And I really feel like, you talked a little bit about my personal growth journey recently, and that's been more of a even recommitting, to the business and recommitting to the programs and the processes even today too. So I wish I would have done that earlier. I would have had some more branch success, but I'm really glad that I did it in between branch and district. And for me, I told myself, if I'm going to do this, I might as well be the best at it and try my hardest, because I had never really given 100%, honestly, to really anything, school, sports, and I did well in those things, but I don't think I could say I gave 100%. And my district office, I gave 110% every single day that summertime, and the results really reflected that as well.
Dude, I love that part where it's like, so yes, you got the privilege, right, of working with Drew, one of the best, if not going down right now as the best in the business, right? And the funny thing about Drew is that he has the programs available to everyone. You can literally go on there and see what he does. It's not the music, or it's not the words, it's the music. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, and just your mentality. It's like, I've got the program, but what really made the difference for me was my commitment. And then you use the term recommitment. So it sounds to me like you on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, etc., do you have to find yourself recommitting, or have you committed and now you're good?
Yeah. So, especially as a new manager, you're always going to have those different thoughts. And, for me, I can't tell you that I have never had those thoughts of, grass is greener or wherever. But here's what I'll tell you is that whatever you create here is whatever you're going to create somewhere else too. And that's what I quickly realized also, that whatever I was focusing on was what I was going to create. So if I can't create what I want to create here, how am I going to create what I want to create elsewhere? And for me, that was just an eye-opening moment of like, you're going to do this anyway. This is a great opportunity. You can do what you need to do and make what you need to make. So now you just got to do it. So that whole recommitting for me just came through, not every day I'm recommitting or every week I'm recommitting necessarily, but it's just committing on a higher level for me. It's being okay with now working more than my friends and not having apprehension about that. It's being okay with, making sure that I have a bedtime routine, and a morning routine, so that way I can be as present as possible for my people and give them back what they deserve. So that way I can help their business grow and I can be the best version of me for them, and that's what I mean by recommitting for my people, for my organization as well. So, recommitting comes through, me believing in the opportunity, but also just putting things in perspective for myself of what it's like elsewhere, because I do see my friends who did take sales jobs elsewhere and went to the same school as I did at college, same major, things like that, and they don't really enjoy what they do. And I compare that to what I do here, and I love what I do. So why go and not commit? And if you're going to be here every day in the office, you might as well give it your best. So
Dude, I mean, that's the call right there. We could literally end the call. If I say that on a few calls where that's it, like that's the secret sauce. It's not the programs, it's how you apply it. Now, obviously it does have a level of the program. You've got to have a time tested, proven to work program, but it's not the words written. It's just the commitment to it. Commit on a higher level, but not having apprehension. I wanted to highlight that. That will be a moment of reflection later today, and that I do hope that our new managers can say, I'm just ready to commit at a higher level, but I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm not going to be apprehended by it. And then you finish that by saying, because I'm giving the people coming in what they deserve. I mean, dude, that's grade A there. That is class, if you were to define class in a certain function. So On a scale of 1 to 10 now, 1 being is that no, absolutely not, I'm done, I'm out the door. 10 being is that I'm here, right? I'm here, water's wet, sky's blue, this is what I do. What's your level of commitment on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, right now it's a 10. I feel like I really want to scale the business in a bigger way right now. I have programs that are working well inside of the office that I can see as transferable programs from campaign to campaign that not only I can rely on that are going to be consistent things, but I also have things that I know I can scale at a bigger level with extra planning and preparation and extra things that I can get more bodies into, whether it be assistant managers, more recruiting, more, campus work or PR work or whatever it is. But I feel really confident and really comfortable with those programs that I feel like I can scale to a bigger level, which gives me empowerment on a daily basis to then plan that out through either staff meeting or through a team meeting or, help to move the needle in one of my assistant managers' businesses much quicker too. So
what I'm hearing you say is that like I'm taking these tools, my scheduling, my recruiting, and all the tips, the themes that we typically hear. But you're not just using those as tools, right? Like I picked this tool up and I'm using it. I'm now planning mode. I'm going to now go into scheduling mode. I'm now going to recruiting mode. You do those things, but yet you feel empowered.
Correct. I feel like the biggest thing that new managers can take away from this is just taking full ownership of your business and not necessarily waiting for your DVM or for a region call or for a event or for anything to really hold you back from getting what you want to get in your business. So, when I say commitment and I'm really committed on a next level, that to me brings up just full ownership of my business. So if somebody's going through issues on my staff, I'm not waiting for a call from Drew, or anybody else to get advice. I'm thinking through, all right, what does this person need? How can I help them? How can I serve them better? And it's not necessarily just sales. It's a lot of mindset things that I need to help them work through that I've experienced that now I can give them more guidance on, because our job as DMs is to help people get unstuck.
What does this person need? Now, this is your representatives that you're speaking to or your development or all of the above?
All of the above, really.
So when you're talking with these people, what are your forms of communication with your people on a daily, weekly, monthly basis?
Yeah, so for my in-town candidates and representatives, so basically my staff, I'll have a weekly PC with them that we schedule at every team meeting, no matter what. And I would encourage everybody to have a same PC time for everybody on their staff consistently every week. So that way you have consistent, contact and consistent conversations with your people. And then, I think about what do they need for their business, right? Because the more we can help our people to become successful, the more successful we become. So I really feel like, what do they need for their business? So for example, I had a guy the other day, he's coming in for a PC here in just a moment, but he was struggling with some things that were not necessarily at all related to the business, not anything related to his schedule or knives or sales. It was more having to do with his mindset, and that he was stressed and he didn't have a morning routine and he wasn't taking care of himself and he wasn't filling himself with positive, encouragement from his circle of influence, and he wasn't filling himself with positive, conversations through either a podcast or something along those lines. And he was stressed. So we talked about a different routine. We talked about how can you make sure that you alleviate more of that stress through your day, so by the end of the day, you feel like you want to work on the business versus dreading working on the business.
Right.
And then he made those necessary adjustments. And last week he sold $1,000 of Cutco. Right. And it had nothing to do with just his skill set and more about teaching knives. It had everything to do with just setting them up the right way to feel good. Drew talks about the 3 reasons reps sell all the time. They have people to call, they have a plan, and they feel good. And feeling good, I think sometimes we undervalue.
Dude, 100%. So,
even for ourselves, right?
15-minute PC with your in-town people. Do they meet them in person and they come into you? Do you meet at a certain coffee shop? Like, how do you do that?
So beginning of the campaign, I typically do like coffee shop planning sessions for them for the entire campaign. So
Okay.
once I establish my staff for the fall, I'll do, not a full half day with them, but I'll do like a hour, 2 hour full planning session for the whole campaign. Creates a lot more long-term buy-in and longevity with the staff.
Okay.
Then I'll do weekly 30-minute to an hour PCs with them in person, in the office. I have them bring in, this is something that's really helpful recently. I have them bring in more solutions to the business if they're experiencing some problems. So instead of just coming to me with verbally vomiting on, well, here's what's wrong and here's where I'm struggling, I'm requiring them to think through those things first, come up with 3 to 5 solutions, and then present those things back to me and say, all right, Kev, what do you think about this? How do you think I can execute this better? What do you think I could do differently in this area? I need some advice on this. And then I'm providing them with either advice if I feel confident in that topic, or then guiding them to either talk to somebody, listen to a podcast, listen to a Vector Connect audio to keep them growing and learning.
Yeah. It's really intelligent there because you're emotionally connecting with your people, but you're not, it sounds to me like you're not trying to solve them.
Correct.
They're coming in. It's almost funny because people ask for help and then you come up with solutions, but they don't want to be solved. It's like, I don't get that, where you're asking for help and then we help you, but then it's like, that's not what you want to hear. What I'm hearing from you is that you're having conversations with people, PDI, I mean, like on a daily, on a couple times a week basis. Like, how often are your PDI calls with these people to figure these things out?
Yeah, so PDI, I mean, they're in the office pretty consistently. So if they're in the office for that day, we don't necessarily have PDI through those days. But on the days where they're outside of the office, then that's where we have the either accountability for some things that they said they were going to work on.
Okay.
And then for the next PC, it's really, from one PC to the next PC also, it provides me with room to be able to say, all right, you said you were going to do these 3 things. How did it go?
Okay.
What did you accomplish? What do we need to work on this week? What do we need to tweak and change to make sure that what you want to get accomplished this week gets accomplished this week? So I'm trying to help them to think through these issues themselves.
Yeah.
So that way they're not always coming to me whenever they experience something that they, feel like they need to work through. They're actively thinking about it. They're learning from it. And they're saying, how can I make sure that it's better the next time? Right. And it's allowing them to grow. It's giving them ownership of their own business. It's allowing them to feel like they're making a difference in their lives, but they're getting guidance versus I'm having to provide every solution, every issue.
Because here's the thing, and I agree with you so much, because one of the questions was, well, how do you teach people to take ownership? And you literally just walked through a step-by-step of how to do that. You ask them questions it's appreciative inquiry. You're curious about them, and you're influencing, but you're not like controlling. Because here's what I've noticed, and I've even talked a lot with Trent Booth, and it's like you could offer an immaculate solution, but you notice that when people take that, it's really not theirs. And they almost like, well, John told me to do that. Trent told me to do that. Kevin told me to do that. And then if they do it and it does not work out, now it's their fault. So what I'm hearing you do is just, hey, I really talk with them. I ask them solutions. You sound like you take good communication with your people, and you also write things down or you track them. And I want to ask you about that in just one moment. But through that accountability, you then have the ability of saying, well, what are you going to do next? And what do you feel would be the best? And like, I can see now the conversations that you're having with your people versus this like drunken, solution-oriented person of like, just do this and just do this and just do this. It's great, man. That's really great. Actively listen to have them actively learn about themselves so they can take full ownership because they're the ones making the decisions.
Yeah, because so often, as the DM, it's really easy for us to take the blame for the rest of the team and to feel bad about everybody else and what they're going through, and, that it's tough for, relating in a sympathetic way. But, our job is to help give them guidance. Our job is to be their mentor. Our job is to help them to find a solution to whatever that they're facing. And we've been doing this for as long, a lot longer than they have. So to ask them, what do you feel like you need to do to change your business is maybe not going to really affect their business ever because they don't know. And our job as the DM is to have those solutions to be able to help our representatives. And if they work through those things and you give them guidance, then it allows them to actually learn it the right way, do it the right way. And then you don't have to worry about, teaching that topic again if they learn it the right way the first time.
Yeah.
And they're the one who's learning it. You're not forcing it on them.
That's that influence versus the control. You can control people, but when you influence them, they make the decision on their own. It's great. And hey, it's not always going to be peaches and cream, but it's a process. It's not like it's the end of the road. This is just a continuous process. So that's why you have open communication weekly, every week, same time. I love that same time consistency.
Yes. You got to have that consistency. Yeah, your people appreciate it. You know, if they're going to book demos around their schedule, they don't need a variable time. A variable time is going to allow them to not have as much time to be able to do other things and stress them out more than it should.
It's almost like that flexibility is a double-edged sword. It's like the flexibility allows them to do what they want when they want, but if they don't know how to do that stuff, it's actually a negative. I just wish it was more stable. It's like, well, let's do the same week, same time every week. The meeting is the same time every week, and have them those posts, those pillars that they can rely on, and then they can fill in around that. That's great.
That's one of the big things that I've noticed, especially through this fall, that I've been able to help our representatives and our staff with, is that flexibility in the job is not having a schedule. The flexibility in the job is picking when you want to work. So instead of giving your representatives and your staff just open flexibility to pick whenever they want to work, what I found is that creates not working at all, right? Because then they just have to pick so often, and then they get so anxious and they get so, nervous to, am I picking the right decision? Am I doing the right things? And then they don't work. So instead, give them options. Would you rather do a Monday phone jam or a Tuesday phone jam? Would you rather do a Thursday phone jam or a Friday? Would you rather do a Saturday or a Sunday? You got to pick three. You got to have a work schedule. Which one works best for you?
Right.
You pick if you want to work, right?
Flexibility through options.
Flexibility through options, and allowing them to feel empowered because it's their schedule, not yours. And then if the schedule's not working, then as the DM, now we can tweak it based off of their results from the last week. Maybe they need more phone time. Maybe they need more names and numbers. Maybe they need different phone times. But at least then we have the consistency to say, all right, this is the base of what you're doing.
Yep.
Now let's see where we can improve. And that's your schedule. But that's been helping so much, that flexibility and allowing them to everybody have a schedule and not having too many options.
It's just, especially when they're new. It's like we don't ideally, 5 weeks, 2 years down the road, it's like, let me see your schedule. But when they're so new and they've never came, it's like, here's what you do. This is when you do it. For us, it's like, well, when do you want to work? And it's like, I don't know how to answer that question. It's like asking my nephew, what do you want for your birthday? And it's like anything, everything. And it's like they pick a yo-yo. It's like, no, it's like you give them some options. Like, hey, here's some things. I want to go to the moon. It's like, we can't get that to happen. It's like, you said I could do anything. So it's framing in the options.
Yes.
Cool. That's great, man. I want to switch gears now. So it's like we've touched a little bit on what you wish you would have known into what's really going well. And I want to talk a few more about what's going well for you right now. And I wanted to circle back to that question of how do you keep track, you personally, of your team and your conversations and the stuff that they tell you? How do you keep track of this information?
Yeah, I can show you real quick, but it's as simple as a notebook. So I have a notebook here that I keep track of my PCs, and I keep the dates in here. I ask them, this is a Trentism, but I ask them if it's cool if I take notes on their PC. They're all cool with notes, and I take notes so that way I know what we talked about last time, and I can give them assignments so that way I know what those things are that they're wanting to work on this week, and next week we can discuss those things. Because I found as a DM, if I don't write those things down and I'm like, we've got a lot of people to PC, we've got a lot of reps to work with, and I forget those things, now I'm not going to hold them accountable to anything. It's disingenuous because if I'm asking them, hey, what were your goals last week again? What did we say we wanted to?
We'll never listen again.
Correct.
They'll be like, oh, forget this.
And you're losing your credibility as your manager, as a manager, you're losing your influence. So, the more you can make sure that you're just prepared for the next one, it's going to give you more better conversations and topics that you can already bring up in that PC. That's going to make it so much more productive.
That's great, man. So it's almost like, so I've got your stuff here from last week and your goals. Tell me about your goals from last week. And like, it's like, you're not like, can you tell me about your goal? We had goals last week, right? And in their mind, they're like, we connected on like 45 minutes last week. Like we almost cried that one time in my PC because how emotional it was And here it is a week later, and you're asking me if I had goals. At that point, that person clicks off.
Correct.
You can show up and it's like, all right, hey, nice to see you. How was your week? Cool. Let's talk about your goals from last week. Like, tell me a little bit about it. And then they can tell you, but you are aware and prepared for it. This is great, man.
Yeah. And that way they're taking ownership of their business, because as DMs, yes, we can provide them with all the solutions, but at the end of the day, they have to be the ones who are going to learn it. They have to be the ones who are going to make the phone calls. They have to be the one who's doing those things. So if we're always asking them, hey, what were your goals? And we don't even have those things in tune,
Yeah.
so we can't even hold them accountable to what they said they were going to do, they're never going to take full ownership of their business. And I want my people to take full ownership of their business, because Vector is one of the best vehicles to go out there and make tons of money, to be able to do whatever you want to do, pay for school, pay for a house, get ahead on your investments, do those things. And my people recognize that and they realize that. And now it's just holding accountable to what they said they were going to do as well.
I love how this came full circle to because at the very beginning you were like, take ownership. And that was one of the first things that you had said. And I'm attracted to that. But and the inside of me is kind of like, how do you take ownership? And you've given a play-by-play, this entire message of how to do so in different scenarios. And it's just so simple. It's asking them questions and it's tracking and then holding them accountable. Ask questions, track it, and then hold them accountable. We could probably go on another hour, which we have a few minutes left, of when to hold somebody accountable. Like if they came in the next week and they haven't hit their goals, So I don't want to pigeonhole you where it's like, do you have a 90-second clip of how to hold somebody accountable? Like if I didn't hit my goals, if my goal was 7 and you and I really worked through that and I did 3 for the week, like in 90 seconds, could you show me how you would hold somebody accountable, or what you would say in that conversation to not bash them into the ground?
Yeah. I think the first thing is you got to seek to understand before feeling understood. I think that's something that, especially in Vector, we hear all the time, but you got to understand them first on why they didn't hit their goals this last week. So that way you can provide them with the guidance necessary to be able to hit that goal this next week. Because oftentimes, here's what I'll say is that we assume reps are either lazy or we assume that they don't want to work. But here's the thing, if they come to your meetings, if they book PCs with you, if they come to the phone jams, if they come to your team meetings, they want to be there. They're just not booking demos, not because they're lazy, they just don't know what to do. So instead of me coming at them about their goals to start, then instead I'll provide them with more solutions on how to hit those goals. All right, so why didn't we hit our goals last week? Oh, we didn't hit our goals last week because we didn't do enough demos. Well, let's peel back some of the layers and let's think about, why didn't we do enough demos? Was it either a lack of people to call, or was it a lack of phone calls? Okay, well, if it's a lack of people to call, then let's go through a chicken list PC and let's go through an activity on how to exactly find more people to call. Versus if it's a lack of phone calls, then let's put some more phone time into your schedule and explain the importance of why these need to be put into your schedule, and that whole flexibility conversation as well. So it allows you to peel back the layers. But if I'm holding somebody accountable to their goals, I'm trying to find solutions to help them first, because that's my job as the DM. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to make them feel bad for not hitting their goals ever, because I want more sales representatives and I want more CPO, and that doesn't get me any closer to more CPO. And do I need to hold people accountable to some things that they said they were going to do? Absolutely. But then I need to make sure that I provide them with more solutions to get out of where they're at, versus badgering and making them unconfident in themselves. I want to rebuild confidence. I want to empower. I want to inspire. I want to give them other things that they're looking forward to working on. I want to give them solutions. By the end of that PC, they're empowered to go out there and say, I got this. I can do this now.
It's great, man. It's just really, really good.
And that's what you can do with your staff too.
Yeah.
At staff meetings, planning out your entire staff meeting, planning out your team meetings, so that way you deliver an SLC type of message, you deliver an SC2 type of message. And what I've noticed by doing that is my guys come into a staff meeting on a Monday if they had a bad week the last week and they've got their heads down and they're feeling bad because they feel like that accountability is going to come back at them.
Yeah.
But instead, I come at them with some love, why it's a great time to be in the business, why right now is the best time to be able to sell this stuff, holiday season especially right now. And I provide them with solutions to the things that they're experiencing failure in. So that way, by the end of that staff meeting, they feel great to go out there. All right, let's do it again this week.
Great.
So
This is solid, dude. Teaching them how to be independent because they're independent contractors. We sell the flexibility, but we're doing a disjustice if we're not teaching them how to work in a flexible environment. Finding solutions. Like, here's the thing. When I assume that people are lazy, and what I forget is that they showed up. And it's like, if anyone ever shows up to the office, to do them, our responsibility is not to view them as lazy. If they've shown up, we need to take lazy off of the table because at least they walked in the door.
absolutely.
And now it's like, well, is it a matter of this? Is it a matter of that? Tell me more about it. Well, I just don't want to do it. Like, I don't believe that. And you know why I don't believe that? Is that you walked in the door today. You didn't have to be here. Well, you said I needed to come.
Yeah.
I said it'd be good if you came, but you didn't have to be here. So I love that. It's assuming that people are lazy, but they're not. If they've shown up, dude, they're ready to go. They just may not know how to go. That doesn't mean that they're lazy though.
Exactly. And
It's good, man.
Asking more of them too, you know, because as a DM for my first several years, I always took the, you know, not necessarily the blame, but I just felt everybody's feelings and I never asked more of them. Right. And I think that comes from you believing in yourself as a DM, that you have value to give back to your people and they're going to be better because they worked with you. And I truly believe that if they work with me, they will be better. If they work with Vector Marketing, they will be better. Right. But then asking them to step up. Hey, you know, your last week you said you're going to do this. So, you know how to do it. So why don't we do it? Right. Because I can give you all the tools to be successful, but at the end of the day, you got to make that decision yourself. So I'm not taking that on me 100%.
Oh.
I'm giving them the guidance and asking more of them to step up.
Yeah, man.
So
I love the ask. I can't tell you how many times in the past that I've assumed people's energy. So by the end of a day of doing PCs, I feel like I've got a dark hole inside of me because I've assumed everyone's energy versus I'm hearing what you're saying. Emotionally, I'm not going to bring your energy to me, you know, because I'm solid. But tell me more about why that didn't happen. And hey, I know that we fell short last week and you're here today. I want to honor that. So what can we do this week? Can I have permission to ask you, can we step it up this week a little bit? But you're solution oriented. And yeah, man, this is really great.
awesome.
I want to honor our time because I'm in the flow zone with you right now. I feel like we could, you know, as we wrap up, we've got a minute and a half of time as we transition. But I know that you were really passionate. Do you have, again, a 90-second commercial or so on, you were really passionate. We were talking about your half marathon and man, is taking care of yourself. You know, we don't need to go on for an hour about taking care of yourself because like, if you take care of yourself, you can take care of others. But what does that mean to you about taking care of yourself and adding in the health aspect of it? So what's your small commercial there?
Yeah. So, I mean, to kick it off, mindset versus skill set. And I undervalued mindset a lot more than I should have. You know, I undervalued personal growth more than over the last year. I undervalued it until this last year for my first 6 years of being a DM. So when I think of personal growth, I think when I take care of myself, I want to work on the business. When I take care of myself, I want to give my people in a PC the right PC. You know, when I take care of myself, I want to plan out my team meeting. I want to plan out my staff meeting. I want to work on programs because I'm very excited about the business. And also when I take care of myself, I feel that I'm just more capable of providing more solutions to my people. And so what taking care of myself looks like, I would say, is make sure that you have a morning routine. Like as a district manager, if you're going to bed at different times every single day, let's become, you know, a little bit more of that professional and let's have a routine. You know, I have a morning routine where I go work out. I wake up at the same time every day. I get my cup of coffee. I get my greens in me. I get my vitamins. I make sure that I'm getting to the gym. I'm listening to a podcast. And that's how I show up to my office every day. Because if I can show up that way, I know that I'm going to, you know, it's like a domino habit. I know if I work out, then I'm going to eat better. I know if I work out, I'm going to sleep better. I'm going to drink more water. I'm going to be more likely to work on myself. And that radiates through the rest of the business. So, you know, make personal growth more of a priority. And that's what I would tell all you DMs out there is make personal growth a priority as soon as possible. Because when you take care of yourself, you will want to work on your business at the next level. You will want to recommit. And I've been there so many times where I feel like I don't want to work on things. but that's just because I ate late and I woke up late, or I didn't work out that day, or I didn't fill my body with good food, or I didn't drink enough water. And once you get more routine through those things, it allows you to then have more success. And your lifestyle is just that much better, because I didn't know that I would like this lifestyle that much more, but you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And, that's one thing that's really resonated with me this year. You don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know I was going to like this lifestyle in the mornings and the routine much more, but I love being in the routine.
Yeah.
And my life is just 10 times better because of it. Not just the business, but like lifestyle and, having time for other things and just being confident. And it's really helped in a lot of other areas. So
I love it, dude. You're flowing, man. You just, like, what'd you do this weekend? I ran a half marathon. Like, what? It's just eating better. You want to take care of yourself. You just got the flow, the love, the abundance, the joy that's coming from you. This isn't a fad. This isn't hype. This is a foundation, and this is why the fundamentals of the fall is so important to have you on here today, man. I can't thank you enough for the insight that you've given. Just amazing. Like, you don't know what you don't know, so learn it. Well, I'm not a morning person. Have you ever tried getting up in the morning continuously? So, dude, just great stuff overall.
Awesome.
As we close here today, I wanted to walk you through our last minute, and this segment is called Lightning Round of Fun Questions.
Ooh, okay.
So you got 1 minute on the clock.
Alrighty.
And 1 minute on the clock, and you can say the answer or you can pass.
Okay.
Okay? On your marks, get set, go. What is the capital of Colorado?
Denver.
Very good. When is your birthday?
4/28/1990.
Okay, what is this?
Hanger.
Very good. Name 2 of the sports teams in Colorado.
Rockies and the Avalanche.
For a bonus, what are the other 2?
We've got the Nuggets and the Broncos, and the Rapids are the soccer team.
Ooh, I didn't know that. In the famous movie with Bruce Willis, the little kid goes, "I see dead people." What was that movie called?
Oh gosh, why can't I think of that off the top of my head? I'm drawing a blank.
Then you can say pass if you want.
Pass, son of a gun. That's the word.
How many senses does a human have?
6 senses. 7, 5.
You have 7 senses? We're beyond Spider-Man? In Dumb and Dumber, when he finds out that she moved to Aspen, he goes, Aspen. Ah, and then what's the state that he associates with Aspen?
I don't know. Pass.
Oh, Aspen. Yeah, blank. Okay. All right, and then my last question here. Would you rather be 15 feet tall or would you rather be 2 feet tall?
15 feet tall.
Cool.
Might as well see everything.
Do you want to know how you did?
Sure.
You came out the gate strong, man. Denver knocked it. Colorado, Denver. When's your birthday? 4/28, 4/23. We're right there. The hanger. I can't believe you got the hanger. It's good. Wow. Avalanche, Broncos, Rockies, Nuggets, and then the Rapids. Dude, I thought you were going to break the record. The movie is The Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense. Come on, Ken.
And then I asked, how many senses does the human have? And then you said 6.
And then I started
saying you said 7. 5 senses.
Yeah.
And Dumb and Dumber, when he goes, Aspen, California. Yeah, but the French are, and he goes off on a tangent. Do you remember that, California?
Yeah. I just remember the part where he says, "You've had 2 gloves this whole time."
Yeah, we're in the Rockies.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great time in Olean. And, dude, let's end it. Let's end it on a high note. I love it.
Let's do it.
Right. So keep it up there. We can end it that way.